Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Network 216 exclusive. This is part 3 of our Ohio State position group preview. I am Tyler Johnson, joined by Jordan Dalton. JD, my man, how are we doing today?
Dogs are barking. It's great.
It's all good. It's all good, dude. I got two dogs. I got a puppy that's 11, 12 weeks old now, and obviously Odell, he's 4 years old, so believe me, I get it with the dogs, guys. We appreciate everyone that's shown a lot of interest in this YouTube series, so if you guys would go over, show that support by dropping a like on today's video, we really would appreciate you helping that YouTube algorithm grow for Network 216. Also, subscribe if you're brand new to the Network 216 YouTube channel. Trying to reach 2,000 subscribers here before the start of Ohio State football. We can't do that without your support. It's a no-brainer because once you subscribe, you're entered in for exclusive giveaways that we have available only to our YouTube subscribers. And we do have a brand new membership for Network 216. Right now, it's $2.99 a month. You get access to videos early, but also coming soon, we are going to have a Discord that's going to include betting content, betting slips we're going to have for you guys on FanDuel, BetJack, DraftKings as well for you guys to check out, but also rumors, news, all for our subscribers. You guys are going to make sure you check that out. Again, that's going to be coming very, very soon. So today we are going to be talking about, we're on part 3, another position, JD, that is just, we're loaded. Truly, it's how it is every year ever since Brian Hartline's come to Ohio State, and that is wide receiver. You begin and you end with arguably the best wide receiver prospect since Calvin Johnson, Marvin Harrison Jr. The fact that Marvin Harrison Jr. is here as a junior and has this much hype around him, obviously the pedigree coming from his family. But what expectations do you have for Marvin Harrison Jr.? Obviously, they're through the roof, and they should be. But do you believe that Marvin Harrison Jr. can do what Devonta Smith did at Alabama? Do you think he has an opportunity to win a Heisman Trophy?
I think going into the season, he's probably going to be one of those preseason front runners for the Heisman, just based off of his season last year. He kind of got snubbed when it came to the Blitnikoff. Jalen Hyatt won it, but I think Marvin Harrison deserved it a little bit more. He was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I don't see it being a stretch that he's a top 5 pick going into the draft, especially with how NFL GMs are valuing the wide receiver position right now as a premium. We're seeing a lot every year, a lot of wide receivers going first, second round. And like you said, he's probably the top wide receiver prospect since Calvin Johnson. Just his size, his speed, his ability to make contested catches, his route running. He's the complete package. Like they say in baseball, 5-tool players. He is a 5-tool wide receiver. He's got everything that you need out of a this guy could play in the NFL right now. I honestly
could have last year. I think he could have last year.
Yeah, I think he could have been the first receiver taken off the board this past draft. So I think the sky's the limit this year. I don't see any reason why he's not a Heisman preseason finalist. And then we're just going to have to see how the season plays out. The biggest thing, I think, for Marvin Harrison is he's playing with a new quarterback, potentially a new quarterback, because he did play with McCord in high school. So there's a little bit of chemistry there. But I think that might be the only thing. Same offense, same conference. So I think he's gonna put up those numbers that is necessary. But we have a very loaded receiver room, which we're going to get into. And I think there might not be enough ball to go around all these guys. So we'll get into it.
Exactly. By the way, I did this a couple weeks ago, but Marvin Harrison Jr. to win the Heisman was plus 1,500. I put 5 on that. I just have a feeling like that those odds are really good for me, and I just think there aren't many talents like him out there. So Marvin Harrison Jr. obviously is the alpha dog, the best receiver in college football. There's no doubt. Was the best receiver last year. Don't let the Jalen Hyatt get in the Blinker-Croft Award confuse you. Marvin Harrison Jr. is by far the most dominant and the best receiver in college football. So now we move on to someone that I wouldn't say he's under the radar, especially not for NFL draft scouts, but you're still in the shadow of Marvin Harrison Jr. But Emeka Egbuka is really, really making a name for himself. And he's obviously the number 2 receiver in this offense. There's no doubt about that. But, JD, this is like when we had Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, you had still 2 phenomenal wide receivers. We're going to, at some point, talk about this on the Scarlet and Gray podcast at some point, probably next offseason when both of them end up moving to the NFL. You could make the argument Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka Egbuka are more dominant, but where does Emeka Egbuka to you stand as far as best receivers in college football? Because I try not to be biased, but for me, you can seriously make the case. Marvin Harrison Jr. is 1, Emeka Egbuka is the 2nd best receiver in the country, and they both play for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, I'd say he's definitely a top 5 receiver. The thing with Egbuka is his usage on offense. He's if not, he's probably the most used player on our offense. In the way that they scheme around him, get him the ball. He is. We don't use him out of the backfield, which I think we could, just with his speed and his elusiveness to make people miss. He is a very similar style to Chris Olave.
Mm-hmm.
Just a very smooth route runner, very fluid. Doesn't look like he's running very fast, but he never seems to get tackled. And yeah, like you said, it's a very similar duo to Garrett Wilson and Olave, with Marvin Harrison being the big guy, Wilson being the big guy, Olave being the shiftier, faster burner type that you can use in underneath routes, and then he can get an open space and create extra yardage. Similar thing that we use Egbuka for. But yeah,
and they both wear number 2 because, of course, they do.
Conveniently, they look identical in their uniforms.
Exactly.
Like we said, we were going through the pictures before the podcast. I'm like, oh, there's Chris Olave.
That's nuts, man.
Yeah, but those 2 guys are phenomenal, and we already know probably the top 3 guys in this room are probably gone after this season. So
yeah,
it'll be another glory years for Ohio State wide receivers, where we might have one or 2 guys in the first round, probably in the top 20 picks. And I like I said, the NFL GMs are liking these guys. Egbuka is no exception. He's going to fit a role. Everybody's looking for the next Cooper Kupp or the next Justin Jefferson, somebody that can change your offense.
And we have 2 of them.
Yeah, and we have 2 of them. And so, yeah, like you said, I think he's arguably a top 2 receiver in college football, and I think it's, like, without a question, top 5.
Absolutely. Now, as we're moving on, this is where we might have a little bit of a debate here, because
this is where the room gets interesting.
Yeah, because, okay, I have been wondering, a lot of Ohio State fans have, is Julian Fleming ever going to take that step? Now, I will say, when you're in the shadow of Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka Egbuka, it's difficult. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a 4-star coming out of high school. Emeka Egbuka was a 5-star, the top wide receiver. But Julian Fleming was the top wide receiver coming out of his recruiting class. Julian Fleming has yet to really show me why he was a 5-star wide receiver at this point. And he is a senior, so I have no doubt that he is going to be a starter, like bearing something surprising. The fact he's still here, I have to admit, surprises me, because I thought he would have transferred. Just I mean, given, again, 5-star, could go anywhere in the country and be the guy. So it's a little surprising, but I want to mold this into a two-parter. This is a battle for me between Julian Fleming and Jaden Ballard. Now,
you think all right. Well, I'll let you. All right.
Yeah, I was going to say, so to me, there's a debate here because Julian Fleming is still, in my mind, when you're you're the number one receiver in your recruiting class, you're a 5-star prospect, I expect you to dominate. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe that's my fault that we're just so used to all these receivers coming in and being stars that maybe my expectations for Julian Fleming were way too high. But the way Fleming's built, this man should be destroying people. Truly, he should be destroying people. The lack of production worries me. And when I see a guy like Jaden Ballard, who I thought performed pretty well in the spring game, given the reps he was given, I think to myself, man, if Ballard produces more explosive plays, I'm starting Jaden Ballard over Julian Fleming. How do you see that third wide receiver shaking out? I do think it's going to be Julian Fleming. I still do. But I'm telling you, man, I wouldn't sleep on Jaden Ballard. They really like Jaden Ballard in this offense.
So I will say Julian Fleming had a really good season last year. And it wasn't a phenomenal season, but as a number 3 wide receiver, and he started the season as number 4 because JSN was our number 1 to start the year. And he kind of filled the JSN role while he was out. He put up 533 yards, had 34 catches, averaged 15.7 yards, and he scored 6 touchdowns. So as a third wideout, that's not a bad season. And like I said, when you are feeding all these mouths on offense, 500 yards receiving is not anything to, it's not phenomenal, like I said, but it's not anything that's horrible. And he had a couple. There was a couple things I remember we talked about, like he had some drops where we're like, man, that was a touchdown if he would have caught it. and like, so he does have things that he needs to work on, but we saw it. He's scoring touchdowns. He's making big catches. He's using his big body to make these catches, break tackles. I think it is a little bit like what you said. We have all these world beaters on offense that are coming in as freshmen and producing, or they're, taking a huge step in their second year with the offense, like Egbuka did last year, where he went from 100 yards on offense to almost, 1,200 yards receiving. And we just haven't seen that out of Julian Fleming. And he was probably the most hyped out of all 3 of them coming out of high school. So
yeah,
I think he had more hype than everybody knew Marvin Harrison was going to be good, but he was only a 4-star. And
Fleming was the guy. Fleming was the guy.
Yeah, he was the guy. And so you could say his career has been a little bit of a letdown, but he's still producing on offense. And that's where we lead into the number 3 receiver. I think there's actually more potential for one of these incoming freshmen to take that position rather than Jaden Ballard. So I think Carnell Tate or Brandon Innes might be a number 3 this year. That's kind of what I'm.
Speaking of, so I had to do this, man, because I knew there was hype around Fleming. His comparison, 24/7 Sports, is Julio Jones. He's a first-round projection. Dude, his grade as a prospect was 100. Like, okay, so maybe, I'm not over exaggerating. Like, I'm not.
You know who else is on Julio Jones projection?
like at this point, dude. Well, funny you mentioned that Jeremiah Smith, who's supposed to come in next year. But it's just with Fleming. Okay, I get it, because here's the thing: you are right. If you're a third receiver in this offense, those numbers are good. Okay, they are. The thought with me with Fleming, and I hate to say this, dude, when there's that much hype around you, you better be good. Like,
but you think Jaden Ballard's going to produce more with the reps given than Julian Fleming? That's kind of what it comes down to. And then the other question you have to one of these guys gets hurt, Marvin Harrison and Egbuka. it's the knock on wood scenario, but one of those guys goes down. Who's going to be the guy that steps up more? Is it going to be Julian Fleming? Is it going to be Jaden Ballard? Is it going to be Carnell Tate? Is it going to be Brandon Inus? Or like, who's going to be the guy that has that alpha dog in him to take over a game? And
That's
to
a
make
good question. I've been waiting for it to be Julian Fleming. I've been waiting.
And it with the hype, that's who we've been expecting. I thought he had a decent season last year, but
number-wise, he did, truly.
Yeah.
With what you're saying is that third guy, he did. It's more so, man, you come in with that type of hype, you better light the world. I'm probably being a little hard on Fleming. I know he's dealt with injury. I get it. It's just, dude, you're ranked as a prospect as 100, man. Like,
this could be the year it all comes together for him. He's healthy. He's in a good system. He understands it. Maybe McCord sees that number 4 on his chest easier than he sees number 2. I don't know.
Could be, man. We'll see.
Yeah.
That's the debate, though.
I think he is going to be the number 3 coming into the season.
Yeah.
There is so much logjam after the top 2 guys, though.
Yeah. No, you're right. And that's I still agree. I do believe that he will be the third guy. It's just hard. Like you mentioned it, though. If Marvin Harrison Jr. or even a Emeka Egbuka, something happens, kind of like a JSN situation, knock on wood, which we hope doesn't happen, who do I trust more to step up? I don't have an answer for you. Because in reality, I haven't seen Julian Fleming do that. I really haven't. And Ballard, I don't know, man. I feel like you give him the reps, he could do it. So, but another guy we got to talk about is someone that the coaching staff has been raving about pretty much all spring. He was the first freshman to lose his black stripe. That's Carnell Tate. Carnell Tate has been the best. Some say he's been the best player in the field this spring. That's saying something, given the wide receiver room that we have. But, JD, here's where this gets interesting. Carnell Tate's coming in, and the one guy who's supposed to be the crown jewel of this recruiting class hasn't even – we haven't seen him yet, Brandon Inus. I don't know how this shakes out, and I mean, like, I don't know how this shakes out because Inus is supposed to be the guy, okay? So you have a prize of every recruiting class. Inus is that guy in this class. But right now, Carnell Tate's the one that's stealing the show. And I don't think it's Inus's – like, these guys played multiple sports. Some of them, I don't know about Inus and why he didn't enroll early. You almost wonder if him not enrolling early, though, has cost him. Because
all right. So I want to stop you there. I think when these guys are coming out early and they're getting the spring ball, I don't think it's a knock on the guys that are still in high school. It's in the eyes of the coaches. Like, I don't think Hartline and Ryan Day are looking at Brandon Inus and being like, "Why didn't you graduate early? What's wrong with you?" I don't think that's the case. But if they are enrolling early, it gives an opportunity to those guys that are on campus to get out in front of the rest of the competition, and Carnell Tate has just seized that opportunity. So not only has he been on campus and gotten the playbook, he's gotten reps with the team, he's gotten he's
gotten reps with the ones, dude.
Yeah, and he's balling out. That is showing the coaches like, hey, we can trust this guy. He knows what he's doing. And now Brandon Inus is going to have to play catch up. And like I said, I don't think it's going to be a knock on him. I don't think he's going to lose any brownie points or whatever you mean, like by not coming out of high school early. But man, Carnell Tate, he took advantage of his opportunity, and there's still a lot of career left for both of these guys. I mean, neither one of them has played a snap in college football.
For sure.
But it goes to show that Carnell Tate is here to stay. I don't think he's going to go away anytime soon. And I don't think the coaches are going to be hesitant to put him in the game when push comes to shove. And so I think that's why I was saying I think there's a really good shot that Colonel Tate jumps Julian Fleming for that number 3 spot a couple games into the season, if not earlier. So I just think his work ethic has shown through, his talent has shown through. But next year, Brandon Inus and Colonel Tate are going to be the head of that wide receiver room. Without a doubt in my mind, those are going to be the top 2 guys. It's just going to be who's going to get the opportunity this year.
How long do they keep Jeremiah Smith on the bench?
Yeah, I mean,
Mylan Graham.
There's so much talent coming into the room next year as
2
well.
5-stars now.
It's ridiculous. So
yeah,
like you said, I think that the crown jewel is going to have some work to do coming in fall, but I don't think it's going to detract from what they believe that they're getting in Brandon Inus, because he was the number 1 receiver in his class. So if not, sure. Wasn't he the number 1 player in his class as well?
I don't know if he was that.
Pretty close to it.
It depends on what rankings you look at. So just to let people know, Cardinal Tate on 24/7 Sports is rated at 98. 3rd wide receiver overall, 22nd prospect. 6'2", 180 pounds. His comparison is Calvin Ridley. Brandon Inus, for some reason, is a 97, a 4-star. But the composite score is a 5-star, and they have him ranked as the 5th receiver. And he is 5'11 and a half, 198 pounds, and his comparison is Amon-Ra St. Brown, and he's projected a first-rounder. So, got a ton of talent. So, we talked about the freshmen a little bit, JD. After wrapping things up, who is someone maybe underrated in this wide receiver room that you could see having a role this year? I think for me, I don't know necessarily if it's as much in the wide receiver room or as it's just as an offensive weapon. It's Xavier Johnson.
Yeah.
Because they love to use him out of the backfield. We've already seen that. We've also seen they will get him involved in the passing game, but to me, he's more of a gadget guy. So who really stands out for you?
I was going to say Xavier Johnson. I think just the way they utilized him last year on offense, as kind of the gadget guy, out of the backfield, running, jet motions, and they really try to get him the ball at a lot of opportunities early on in the season too. Against Notre Dame, he scored a touchdown, and it was more of like a feel-good story that week. If you remember when he scored, we were like, who is this guy? Like, he just scored his first career touchdown. He's a 4th-year senior, and he came back for his 5th year this year. And we're like, wow, that's a really good story. And then he ended up playing a really big role in our offense as the season went on. And they really try to get him involved in the offense. And so I don't see that changing. I think he's going to be utilized in a lot of different ways, a lot of special teams. He's just a really good, solid veteran player that has been around, earned the trust of all the coaches, and he's a guy that they can rely on. So I think he's going to be kind of like the sleeper in that wide receiver room, where he might not necessarily be your 3rd wideout, but he's going to be on the field in critical situations, and he's going to be making a lot of big plays for this offense as the season goes.
Yeah, man. I mean, I truly agree with that. Xavier Johnson's going to have a role. It's not going to be like a huge role, but he is going to be a gadget guy for sure that Ohio State's going to take advantage of. So, obviously, like I said, we're wrapping things up here. Guys, thank you for everyone that's tuned into this series so far. It's been a lot of fun. We've already gotten quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. Next, we're going to focus on offensive line. That's going to be kind of interesting.
Interesting one.
We're going to see what happens there with that. But anyway, guys, again, drop a like on today's video. What that does, that helps that YouTube algorithm grow for Network 216. So please do that. Subscribe to the channel if you're brand new around here. Again, the next edition of the series is going to drop here pretty soon. But be sure to check out today's video and also comment below. How would you see the Ohio State wide receiver room stacking up? Is it going to go in order? Do you see anyone surprising? Be sure to let us know. Scarlet and Gray podcast is coming back here in the fall. We're getting closer and closer. Currently have some things in the works with it. A lot of things in the works. So
it's almost
can't wait.
We're in the dead season right now, where all the sports are done. We just got baseball.
Dude, we are. Football's coming though. It's coming, guys.
The dreaded months.
It is the dreaded months. Again, subscribe to the channel if you're brand new around here. We can't wait to talk to you guys all again soon. And go Buckeyes!